Morning to all of you. Today we are going to read about a legendary figure whose name is Nagendra Prasad Sarbadhikari. He was the father of Indian football. There was a time in India when football was more popular than cricket. Of course, it is still a firm favorite in some states. But how many know Nagendra Prasad Sarbadhikari? This name crops up rarely, only when someone talks about the history of Indian football. Though debated, there is majority consensus that Nagendra Prasad is the father of Indian football, one who introduced soccer among his friends back in 1877. The story is that the young Nagendra saw a group of Europeans playing a game that he had not seen before. At some point, the ball that gentlemen were kicking rolled to where he was standing. Nagendra Prasad kicked it back into play. He thus became the first Indian to ever kick a football. Nagendra Prasad did not stop there. He and his friends formed the Boys Club, the first football club for Indians. Almost single handedly, he laid this mission of popularizing the game, founded the Wellington Club in 1884 and the Sova Bazar Club in 1887. The latter was the first all India club to participate in the British instituted Trades Cup in 1889, and 3 years later registered a first ever win for an Indian club against foreign opposition when they beat East Surrey Regiment. The game spread quickly and clubs mushroomed all over the country. The game spread quickly and club mushroomed all over the country. Nagendra Prasad mysteriously withdrew from football and disappeared into obscurity. It is said that this happened following his joining the Calcutta High Court as an attorney. But there are other stories behind the egress of this football aficionado. Aficionado means one who is having desire or longing to have that game or that football or cricket, whatever it may be, fan or admirer of something, that is the meaning of aficionado. In 1936, an Indian footballer, Mohammad Salim, played professional football for a European club, but Salim remains unsung. In fact, when Salim died in 1989, the newspaper dismissed his obituary in just a paragraph, ignoring the feat of having played for Celtic Football Club. Salim was born in Mathiaburz, Calcutta, to a lower middle class family. He was bad in academics but excelled in football. He played for various clubs before joining the senior team of Mohammedan Sporting in 1934. In his years with the club, Sporting achieved unmatched success, winning the Calcutta League title 5 times in a row. After an impressive season in 1936, Salim was invited to play 2 matches for All India 11th against the Chinese Olympic side. Salim was superb and drew praise from all quarters. Before the second match, Salim simply vanished. Advertisements were placed in newspapers asking him to return before the start of the match. By then, Salim, along with his cousin, were in Britain. His cousin urged Salim to try his luck in European football. They reached Glasgow and Salim was introduced to the legendary manager of Celtic, Willie Maley. Mali was impressed when he saw the barefooted Salim play in the trials. Salim was signed after he got the nod from the coaches and a few members of the club who watched him demonstrate his skills. In the friendly games for Celtic, Salim excelled and even scored. He was the first Indian footballer to achieve this feat. It took nearly 63 years for another Indian, Baichung Bhutia, to emulate this feat when Bhutia scored for a second division English club. A week after the friendlies, Salim left Glasgow despite Male's efforts to sign him for the next season. The manager even offered to conduct a charity match with a percentage of the ticket sales going to Salim, but the player longed to be home. In Calcutta, Salim helped Mohammedan Sporting win back-to-back league titles before retiring in 1938. Salim kept his ties with Celtic and the club always remembered this wizard from India. When Salim was seriously ill and in need of medical treatment, his son wrote to the club. To his surprise, Salim's son received a letter and a bank draft of £100. Salim died in 1989. Football is replete with such amazing characters, many of whom have disappeared into the gauze of memory. Others plough a lonely furrow. Football on the battlefield. The National Football Museum in Manchester is a treasure trove of priceless exhibits. One that stumped me was one of two footballs used by Captain Wilfred Percy Neville and his men at Battle of Somme, July 1916. Neville of the East Surrey Regiment was the originator of the famous football charge on the first day of the battle. The English captain launched an attack on the German forces by kicking a football. He leaped out from behind the parapet that had offered some cover and cleared the ball towards the enemy trenches. His regiment, hesitant at first, followed. The captain was cut down by gunfire, but England conquered the no man's land and celebrated the battle as the first victory of British football on front lines. PM Hamid had been single-handedly organizing the C.H. Mohammed Koya Memorial Tournament in the city for the past 3 decades. This becomes significant when the number of tournaments